Yes, Irina.
Yeah, I got a question about that list of feelings, like some feelings, um, whether some of them are product of FSA um, and some, like for example, jealousy. Like I can experience jealousy. Somebody has something I want, I can experience like desire or say like, wow, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
And that doesn't seem like to have an FSA, that quality.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So just trying to see like the difference, but it's that when I start feeling like suffering, like I don't have that, I should have that, I don't have that,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
or feeling like less than, like they're better, like any kind of superiority, inferiority seems to involve. But sometimes also like somebody has a quality you admire and you don't have that, and that could be like desire for the quality that you don't have naturally,
Right.
like this body mind.
So we can make a distinction, if we like, between envy and jealousy.
Oh, okay.
I mean, if you want to make that distinction as the one, that quality that is without involvement by the false sense of authorship versus the one that with the false. So when the false sense of authorship attaches to envy, it becomes jealousy.
Oh, okay. It's semantic issue because I think in Russian we only have one word
Yeah,
for
very,
both.
very possibly. But
Yeah.
fortunately, you speak English, so you can use that one.
Well, I'm gonna look it up because to me they're the same. So I'm like,
okay, but and that linguistic distinction is ultimately unimportant.
well,
It's what it's pointing to that's important. So if you can, again, we're looking to identify, perhaps, if you're interested, where this false sense of authorship is attaching and its an impact in terms of suffering.
Yeah.
One of the things we do in this teaching.
Because it seems like it could be an emotion or a feeling, and then attachment is what makes it suffering. Like maybe a body mind experiencing a depression, possibly with the chemical stuff.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But then that's but then the feeling that it shouldn't be there, like I shouldn't experience this. This is wrong. Is when right? It's attaching. It shouldn't be this way. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it has like a certain flavor, a certain taste, or
yes. So there's a part of you that really knows it and feels it. And it's hard to analyze it because, intellectually to break it down is difficult, and it doesn't quite do it. So it is that recognition that we're really concerned with, which you kind of see it. You say, yeah.
I experience it like it's a full, but it's like whole. It's not here. It's like the whole body or whatever.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when
our emphasis here in this teaching is on that. So the concepts are only pointing you back to that.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to go the other way around and take that experience and then break it down into its conceptual parts.
But that's what my mind likes to do.
I know that's what your mind likes to do, and because that's what minds do. But the emphasis of the teaching is to always be pointing you back to the experience itself. because that's where the real meat is, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. Would you say that understanding, I mean, you said understanding is not necessary.
Intellectual understanding is
Sometimes
not
it's,
necessary.
yeah.
Inter-
Sometimes it's,
Intellectual understanding gets pasted on top.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it feels good to understand something. Like there's a quality of, but I understand that it's not, I understand it's not the point.
Mm-hmm.
The point, and the point. Um, it's just when we talk, we still talk intellectually. I guess maybe there's more happening, but
Yes, of course. I mean, there are the presence of concepts doesn't necessarily diminish or mask the experience. It may,
mm,
but
mm,
it isn't necessarily so. That these concepts can be effective tools to point you back to the experience. And then you have the aha, you see it, you go, ah, yeah, there's that recognition, which is not intellectual.
mm,
The aha moment is not intellectual.
no,
It's way bigger than that. What we talk about is the recognition or the aha.
yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's just the mind takes it sometimes and says, okay, let me break it down and analyze what happened.
Right. That's true. And the teaching is here to recontextualize and say that which the mind has broken down and identified is not the thing itself. It
Mm-hmm.
is a representation of it. Representation.
Yeah, yeah. Just so we can talk about it if you want. My mind seemed to like attach to that. So that's when it's attaching, like to that understanding.
Well, I suppose what we're really talking about is valuation, kind of, in a sense. What is
Mm-hmm.
it that is carrying the higher value? Is it the intellectual apprehension or the intellectual representation that the mind does, or is it the original understanding that has the highest value, which in itself is not capable of being expressed except in a representation? So are we valuing the experience itself, or are we valuing our ability to talk about it?
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of so it's a question of what is carrying the higher value. Ultimately, in this teaching, we attach higher value to that original experience without throwing out the representation and the concepts and the pointers, saying they have their place, but the highest value is given to the direct recognition itself.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's helpful not to get stuck in the right concepts and
Exactly. Yes.
yeah, and have arguments with people trying
Exactly.
to
Right.
which I can do sometimes because there's some power, you know. It's like if you learned how to like value intellect for some whatever reason, your history, body, mind, it's
Yeah.
like intellect is your power, so it's like you tend to really yeah.
Yeah.
But there's much more freedom in the other way. There's much more, you know,
Mhm.
life.
Yes, there is. Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you.
You're welcome.